These characters are cute, sweet, completely harmless. At least that's what you're supposed to think.
Triangle. Good. House. Good. Campfire.
Because when these little angels finally snap, you find out just how terrifying they really are. Let's start with Stewie Griffin. Now, calling this kid innocent would be ridiculous. Stewie might be the least innocent baby that you'll ever see on television. This tiny baby can spend an entire afternoon plotting against his own family, arguing with Brian, and behaving like he's personally responsible for every evil plan in Quahog. But every now and then, Family Guy reminds us that underneath all of that attitude, Stewie is just still a baby. And when that baby side comes out, he's actually adorable. There are moments where all of the confidence disappears and Stewie becomes genuinely vulnerable. When he's scared that Brian might reveal something embarrassing about him, this dude who normally acts like nothing can hurt him suddenly becomes emotional and desperately tries to convince Brian to keep his promise. It's quite a funny contrast because we're used to a Stewie that's talking about world domination and talking like he's literally the smartest baby alive, but suddenly he's just a little baby begging his best mate not to grass him up.
To make sure you never do it again. I won't, I swear!
Then you've got the simple moments where he's excited about something like ice cream. Stewie using his favor from Brian just to get himself an ice cream is the sort of thing that reminds you of how young he actually is. He's not always plotting some world domination. Sometimes, man, he just wants a bloody dessert.
Okay. Can we go for ice cream?
And then there's the swing set moment, which might actually be one of the best reminders that underneath the ridiculous accent and massive vocabulary, Stewie is still a frightened little baby. Peter is messing about on the swing set because obviously this dude can't behave normally for like 5 minutes. And when something goes wrong, Stewie immediately panics. He doesn't try to solve the problem, nor does he start plotting revenge as he just screams for his mum. It's hilarious because this is supposed to be the same character who constantly talks about destroying people. Yet when his dad gets himself into trouble, Stewie's first instinct is basically to get his mum, and moments like this make the more intense part of his character a bit harder because Stewie isn't always this fearless mastermind. He's emotional, he's needy, and he's still learning how the world works.
Get mom! 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 Mom!
Here's where things get interesting, because being cute doesn't mean he's harmless, because we've already seen this baby fight his evil twin, clash with Penelope, and get into some seriously ridiculous confrontations with Brian. So when someone pushes Stewie too far, there's always another side waiting underneath that little innocent face. And Brian probably knows that better than anyone. Their friendship works because Brian sees both versions of Stewie. He knows the sweet baby who gets emotional and wants ice cream, but he also knows the little bugger who can suddenly become an absolute nightmare when he's angry. That's why the moments where Stewie snaps are pretty satisfying. We've just watched him crying, begging, getting excited over a bloody dessert, and screaming for his mum. And then suddenly, he's picking up a baseball bat and deciding that somebody has crossed the line. The contrast is what makes it work, because Stewie doesn't suddenly become someone else when he loses his temper. That side of him has always been there. It's just buried underneath the cute moments, and that's what makes him such a perfect character for this list. You can look at Stewie and think, oh, look at the little toddler. And then you remember everything he's done and realize you probably shouldn't turn your back on him, because this kid can go from vulnerable baby to absolute menace in literal seconds. And honestly, that's terrifying when you remember he's still wearing nappies.
Hey, Bri?
Yeah?
Ah! Damn it! Ah! There's glass in my eye! Oh, son of a...
Now, let's move on to a character who doesn't even need to understand what's happening before he becomes terrifying. Jack-Jack might genuinely be one of the biggest surprises in The Incredibles. When we first see him, this little boy just looks like an ordinary baby. He's tiny, cheerful, and completely harmless. His biggest concerns seem to be crawling around, playing with toys, and being carried by his family, while everyone else is busy saving the world. His parents have super strength. His mum can stretch, his brother can run ridiculously fast, and his sister can create force fields and disappear. Jack-Jack, meanwhile, appears to have absolutely nothing going on. That's the joke, because everyone assumes he's the only kid without powers. Then Carrie gets left looking after him and suddenly the entire situation changes. At first, it's actually quite cute until Jack-Jack starts doing things that babies definitely shouldn't be doing. He disappears, floats around, and starts displaying strange abilities that nobody can properly explain. Carrie is left trying to figure out what the hell is happening, while Jack-Jack is just enjoying himself. The little baby doesn't understand that he's doing anything extraordinary. He's simply having a brilliant time, discovering what his body can do.
For cognitive development. Oh, who's the goo-goo baby? Where's the hiding? Huh?
In another scenario, a raccoon threatens him, and suddenly this innocent baby starts unleashing powers nobody knew he had. He changes form and starts attacking the raccoon, who thought they were dealing with a helpless child. I mean, he is still just a baby, except now he's basically turned into a super-powered chaos machine. One second he's tiny and adorable, the next he's flying through the air or transforming into something completely unexpected. The raccoon, trying to deal with him, has absolutely no idea what's coming next. That's what makes Jack-Jack's rampage so memorable, because a normal superhero has limits. You know what Superman can do? You know what Mr. Incredible can do? Jack-Jack? Nobody bloody knows. He has so many powers that even his own family struggles to understand them. He's basically a walking mystery with nappies on. And because he doesn't understand how dangerous he is, there isn't even any proper strategy behind his attacks. He's just reacting to whatever happens in front of him. That's also why Jack-Jack's moment feels so different from the other characters on this list. Forget snapping because years of frustration have built up, or getting angry because somebody constantly underestimates him. He's simply a baby, a well-treated baby, mind you, who gets threatened and suddenly his instincts take over. And that's somehow even more terrifying, because an angry superhero knows what they're doing. Jack-Jack is just pressing random buttons and discovering a new power every few seconds. The dude on the receiving end is basically fighting an opponent whose moves haven't even been invented yet. And after all that chaos, Jack-Jack can simply go back to being adorable like nothing happened.
No!
Everyone else is standing around wondering what the hell they just witnessed, while this little toddler probably just wants a bottle and a nap. That's the genius of Jack-Jack. His greatest weapon isn't just his powers, but the fact that nobody expects them. He's the tiny baby that everyone thinks needs protecting, only for him to become one of the most unpredictable and dangerous members of the entire family. So if you ever see a harmless looking baby crawling towards you, lad, maybe don't underestimate the little fella, because if he's anything like Jack-Jack, you might be about to discover a bloody nightmare in nappies. Now, if you thought Jack-Jack was dangerous because nobody knew what the little baby was capable of, our third entry is dangerous for a completely different reason. Kuki Sanban is basically sunshine with a voice. She's cheerful, innocent, ridiculously energetic, and absolutely obsessed with rainbow monkeys. This very cheery girl can turn almost any situation into something wholesome, while the rest of Sector V are running around fighting villains. Kuki is usually worrying about her toys, looking after her friends, or being unbelievably positive. And that's precisely why her angry moments are so funny. When you've got someone this cheerful, you don't expect them to suddenly become terrifying. Kuki isn't usually the one intimidating people. She's the one everyone underestimates. She gets pushed around, teased, and ignored because everyone assumes she'll just smile and move on. And most of the time, she does. But every time somebody messes with something that she loves, you can see that patience getting thinner. And man, there is one thing you absolutely do not want to mess with if you're anywhere near Kuki. And that's rainbow monkeys, because she absolutely loves them.
Don't look at me like that! No, we need to be strong!
It's not just about simply loving rainbow monkeys, because she treats those bloody things like they're members of her family. They're her comfort, her obsession, and basically the center of her little world. So when someone starts ruining them, taking them away, or deliberately using them against her, that innocent smile can disappear remarkably quickly. One second Kuki is talking in that ridiculously cheerful voice, acting like everything is brilliant, and the next she's staring at someone like they've made a catastrophic mistake. We've seen little hints of this before. She can become extremely protective of her friends, especially when someone threatens the people that she cares about. She might be the softest member of the team, but soft doesn't at all mean weak. The other kids sometimes forget that she's still a trained member of the kids next door. She knows how to fight. She knows how to use her equipment. And when she finally has a reason to stop holding back, the cute little rainbow monkey fanatic becomes a completely different problem.
Facility.
No! I know he's here! So no!
What makes Kuki's snap even better is that she doesn't suddenly stop being herself. She's still kooky, still emotional, and still passionate. She's simply reached the point where the patience has completely run out. Her rage becomes ridiculously intense because of how much it contrasts with her normal personality. She can go from smiling and giggling to charging into a fight with absolutely zero hesitation. And because the audience already knows how innocent she normally is, they're not watching her anger, thinking she's evil. Rather, it's giving off bloody hell, somebody really pushed her. That's what makes the moment satisfying. Kuki is minding her own business, and trouble comes looking for her. Eventually, she decides she's had enough, and that's it. The same girl who spends so much time caring about others suddenly becomes the person everyone else needs to worry about. And honestly, man, that's probably the most dangerous kind of snap. When the person who avoids normal conflict finally decides that avoiding it isn't working anymore. And once the danger's gone, Kuki can return to normal almost immediately. Her rage is simply what happens when somebody pushes one of her biggest buttons too many times. She wants to have fun, spend time with her friends, and surround herself with her beloved rainbow monkeys. But if you take that kindness for granted, eventually the smile disappears. And when it does, you're going to discover that the cute girl everyone thought was harmless is still a member of Sector V. That's the lesson with Kuki. Never confuse sweetness with weakness. Don't think the loudest, toughest bloke in the room is always the most dangerous person there, because sometimes it's the cheerful girl sitting quietly in the corner, smiling while everyone else causes chaos. Because she might be giving you one final chance to stop. And if you ignore that chance, don't complain when Kuki finally decides you've had enough warnings. She was lovely. She was patient. She was bloody cheerful. You just had to keep pushing her. Now we get to the character who might be the ultimate example of somebody being underestimated because she's cute. Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls is the sweet one, Blossom is the leader, and Buttercup is the tough one, while Bubbles is the cheerful little girl who loves animals, drawing, and anything adorable. She speaks softly, gets emotional easily, and looks like she wouldn't hurt a fly.
Hi, mister. We're selling cookies to earn $100 so that we could buy a huge destructo ray from an evil monkey genius at his yard sale so that it doesn't fall into the hands of the Gangrene Gang.
But that's exactly what makes Bubble Vicious so brilliant. Bubbles gets absolutely fed up with everyone treating her like she's helpless. First, she watches Buttercup destroy a combat simulation while everyone praises her for being hardcore. Then it's Bubbles' turn, and the professor gives her an easier challenge because he assumes she can't handle the same danger. Instead of a proper threat, she's basically fighting a harmless robot. When she struggles, the message is that she's not ready. You can almost see the frustration building. This isn't just about losing a training exercise. Bubbles is tired of being treated like the baby of the family.
I'll show them. I'll prove that I can be hardcore.
Then the little things keep piling up. At bedtime, Blossom still wants the hallway light left on because everyone assumes Bubbles is frightened of the dark. Buttercup teases her, the professor keeps treating her like she's fragile. Eventually, Bubbles decides she's going to prove every single one of them wrong. She goes into the simulator and turns the difficulty all the way up. That's when the cute little Bubbles everyone knows disappears. She's eventually surrounded by enormous monsters, and instead of panicking, she starts fighting. She's absolutely dominating the challenge. Every insult, every assumption, every comment about her being the weak one seems to fuel her. The girl who was struggling against a tiny robot is now taking on monsters like she's been waiting her entire life for this. And the funniest part is that she's still Bubbles. She's just discovered that she can be absolutely terrifying terrifying when she wants to be. For the first time, the looks from her sisters change from she needs protection to pitying whoever dares to piss her off. They're looking at her thinking, bloody hell. But the simulator isn't the end of it. The anger follows Bubbles outside. When her sisters continue treating her like she's the weakest member, she becomes far more aggressive, and suddenly the girl everyone thought needed saving is the one nobody wants to annoy. Even when the mayor calls the hotline, Bubbles grabs the situation with the confidence of someone who completely had enough. What follows is Bubbles becoming a one-girl force of nature. She starts dealing with criminals herself, and her definition of justice suddenly goes completely off the rails. Littering? Wrong place. Breaking rules? Wrong kid. Annoying Bubbles? Probably the worst crime of all. Then Mojo Jojo gets involved and tries to exploit her emotional state. Instead, he discovers that making Bubbles angry is perhaps the worst possible strategy. He expects the cute little Powerpuff Girl to break down, but she refuses to give him the reaction that he's looking for. Instead, she breaks free and takes control of the entire situation. By the time Blossom and Buttercup arrive, Bubbles has already shown exactly what she's capable of. And that's when her sisters finally give her what she's wanted all along. They admit she's hardcore. That's when the anger starts disappearing, because underneath all of the aggression, Bubbles never wanted to become some terrifying warrior. She wanted to be respected. She wanted her sisters to stop treating her like the fragile one. She wanted everyone to understand that being sweet doesn't make her weak. And honestly, that's what makes her snap so bloody satisfying. It's not like she becomes a different person. She simply stops hiding the side of herself that everyone refused to acknowledge. She's still kind, emotional, and the girl who loves animals and adorable things, but now everyone knows that underneath all that sweetness is an incredibly powerful superhero who can absolutely lose it when she's pushed too far. And just when you think she's finally calmed down, Mojo wakes up and tries his luck again. Big mistake, dude. Bubbles immediately goes straight back into rage mode, because apparently once you unlock hardcore Bubbles, there's no going back.
Man, Bubbles, we really underestimated you. And you know what? You're hardcore! And girls, I'm sorry for running up.
Now we've reached the little blue dude who might have the biggest difference between his cute side and his dangerous side. Stitch is adorable, with his massive ears, tiny body, and ridiculous little noises.
Oh, that's my one bag.
I know.
People forget this a lot, but Stitch was created to cause chaos, not to be a cute mascot. This little troublemaker is incredibly strong, intelligent, and almost impossible to stop. When we first meet him, he's destructive, selfish, and completely uninterested in following rules. Then Lilo comes along and slowly changes everything. She treats Stitch like family, not a monster. We see him learning to behave, trying to fit in, and slowly understanding what it means to care about someone. He's still chaotic and still causes trouble, but now he has something worth protecting. And once Stitch decides someone is family, that's when you really need to be careful about pushing him too far. Throughout the story, Stitch gets pushed around emotionally. He's constantly told that he's dangerous, chased around, and treated like something that needs to be locked away. Even Lilo doesn't always understand what he's going through. Stitch starts believing he's going to lose the only family he's ever had, and suddenly his usual silly behavior becomes much more emotional. Forget causing trouble, he's scared as hell. That's what makes the cute moments hit harder. This is the same creature who once looked like he couldn't care less about anyone, now desperately trying to hold on to the people he loves. And when Lilo is threatened, something inside Stitch changes. The goofy alien disappears, and the original experiment starts coming back out. The strength that once made him destructive becomes useful for protecting someone. He's fighting because Lilo matters to him, not just causing chaos because he can. His anger for his family. The second someone insults him or threatens the person he loves, the gloves come off.
Now get out of my way before I run you over. Ah! His name is Stitch. That is the ugliest thing I have ever saw.
You can see this whenever Lilo's treated badly or their family's in danger. Stitch might spend 5 minutes causing absolute nonsense, stealing food or making everyone wonder why they ever allowed this strange little fellow into their house. But then something happens to Lilo and suddenly he's completely focused. A switch flicks. The troublesome little alien becomes a force of nature, and because Stitch was designed to be dangerous, he's not pretending to be tough. He's incredibly strong, agile, and clever enough to improvise. So when that protective instinct kicks in, whoever threatens his family has made a spectacularly poor decision. But what makes the moment isn't simply what Stitch can do, it's why he's doing it. He's not trying to prove he's powerful, he's protecting the person who gave him a home. The thing that once made Stitch dangerous becomes the thing that allows him to become a hero. His aggression hasn't disappeared, he simply found something worth using it for.
Ew! Get it away from me! Somebody do something!
Oh, great! He's loose!
And there you have it, lads. Cute doesn't mean harmless. And bloody hell, these characters proved it for shizzle. If you want part 2 with even more adorable characters losing the plot, smash that like button and tell us who should be next. Until then, cheerio!